what are some of the main changes that we're seeing in where people are really looking to buy?
Well, one of the biggest trends we've seen over the last year is an increase in demand for space. So, buyers are looking for bigger houses on bigger blocks and in more scenic locations. Because of this, we've seen a really strong demand for properties in outer suburban and regional areas, and we're seeing these suburbs sell at record speeds. So last year was the year that we all stayed home. But even with restrictions easing, the increase in remote working means that people are continuing to spend more time at home than in the past, and they're reassessing their space needs. So that's one of the reasons why we're seeing people look for three-bedroom homes, for example, more than in the past. And we've also seen a corresponding decrease in demand for one and two bedders.
Look,
So when I talk about record speeds, we're seeing properties in these outer areas sell at sometimes 3 or 4 times the speed that they would have done a year ago.
it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? And this is all coming with no immigration. So, look, a lot of people thought that the market may drop by 30%. And many are getting very, very feverish to sell their properties because they're looking at the big ticket. But the bottom line is this is not going to go negative. This is going to keep getting bigger and bigger. So if you don't have to sell, probably the tip would be don't.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your circumstances, but several of the big banks are forecasting strong price growth out to the end of the year. So, owners, I guess, will have to make that decision, won't they, about when is the best time to sell if they are looking to do so.
And which suburbs and regions are really selling the fastest?
So the areas that are selling the fastest tend to be areas that are more scenic, so coastal or hinterland regions that are still relatively close enough to cities that it's possible to commute in and where there's good amenity. So in New South Wales, for example, we've seen really strong demand for properties in the Blue Mountains. So Glenbrook is an example of a suburb where properties are selling for 15 days on average now. A year ago, it was taking 46 days for these properties to sell. Hobart, the Greater Hobart area, is the fastest selling region in all of Australia. If we look at the top 10 fastest selling suburbs in the country, 6 of them are in the Greater Hobart area. Now, part of this is to do with scarcity of stock, but it's not the full picture because we've seen properties there fall dramatically in the time it takes for them to sell. Australia's fastest selling suburb, which was in the Greater Hobart area, which was Chigwell, properties there, they're taking on average 9 days to sell. A year ago, it was 27 days.
I do chuckle a bit sometimes when I see over 55 living because I don't know many 55-year-olds that are even looking to retire because not many people can afford to retire at that age these days. But looking at retirement living options, booming. What trends are we seeing in this space?
Well, again, in retirement living, we're seeing a really strong demand for scenic areas. Coastal areas are performing the best in the retirement sector. So Queensland is actually the most popular state to retire to, and we're seeing a lot of demand there from Victorians as well, looking to retire somewhere a bit warmer, more of an outdoor lifestyle, close to the beach. So the Sunshine Coast, for example, in Queensland, has a lot of demand for it from retirees.